After an international break in which it was announced Minnesota will host next year's MLS All-Star Game, and where the Sounders secured their playoff spot for a 13th successive year.
Benazet celebrates as only he does!
Is that what you young people call twerking?
We start the dance again with all the action from week 30 in MLS, and we begin in the East with the third Hudson River Derby of the season.
There's coming good at the right time.
All it takes is one chance for the Red Bulls.
And hitting the skids at the wrong time.
The woes continue for New York City Football Club.
3 points behind NYCFC, the Red Bulls were chasing down their Hudson River rivals.
Fernandez! Red Bull Arenas is home!
Maxi Morales a blast, and it's in!
Commentary comes from Matt Jackson and Phil Blacker.
A Red Bulls win today would take them level on points with their neighbours, a scenario seemingly unthinkable even just a few weeks ago. Christian Cáceres coming forward, getting the decision from Guillermo Rufo, vastly experienced referee in charge today on Derby Day.
Cullen's just getting the wrong side and having to make the foul.
Plenty of options in the middle for them here. Very congested penalty area. Waiting this delivery, which is dinked in towards Reyes, who got his head to it, and then it's turned in. It's the breakthrough goal. Cáceres has scored it, and it's come inside the first 3 minutes of the match. Advantage Red Bulls already.
What a start this is for Red Bulls. They do the right thing, they get that delivery right. It's a relatively easy finish, no chance at all for Johnson. Red Bulls well underway. What an unbelievable start for them.
Can they produce from this corner kick? Tonkin to take, flicked on by Davis. It was a big chance. Nealis sent it flashing goalwards, and it's blocked behind.
I think it hits Yearwood, his own player. Little flick from the near post. There's the ricochet. Yes. Oh, chance.
And then Fernandez will get on the end of it. Can he find the finish? Oh, it's a fraction away. So close to 2. The match winner when they last met, Omir Fernandez, was almost at it again.
Just doesn't quite get himself set. What a big moment that could be.
Castellanos taking the pass from Santiago Rodriguez, who gets it back here. Shifts it on for Tavon Gray. He'll clip in the cross.
Very safe.
Coronel in the way to keep out Rodriguez.
Oh, that's tight as well.
Beats the ground in frustration at the end of that. Santiago Rodriguez was the one on the receiving end of the challenge. Too many questions really asked of the referee.
It's a fantastic ball in. Brilliant save.
Cáceres with the cross, and Klimala's missed his kick in front of goal.
Klimala does that lovely little pull away. He's got a great view of the ball as it comes in the blind side of Shano. What a great chance that is.
Forward by Duncan, it's a good ball. Klimala gets his shot away this time and does extend Sean Johnson. More difficult effort, a much better effort, but it's repelled by the goalkeeper. And the slide going on as it stands for Ronnie Dyler. Callum's making his presence felt in the penalty area. It's aimed in towards him. Oh, it's brilliant from Amundsen. So unlucky as it crashes back off the bar. The fullback caught that so sweetly. Then Yearwood was caught and the card is out. Massive moment in the match.
Oh, deserved. That strike would have deserved to win about 10 games. Brilliant technique, because that comes really quickly to him. Perfect connection, gets the bit of dip on it as well.
Full time, the New York Red Bulls 1, New York City FC 0.
I think we deserve the win, and yeah, one more time. New York is red, and this makes us happy and give us a very good feeling and confidence for the next big game away.
CF Montreal began the weekend in the final playoff position in the East, while Jim Curtin's Philadelphia Union were situated in a far more assured third place. The pressure perhaps sat a little heavier on the hosts, but they responded accordingly. 20-year-old Matko Miljevic with his first ever goal in MLS. Montreal's advantage was preserved until just after the hour, when Jamiro Montero's free kick hit the post, and then the heel of goalkeeper James Pantemis to give the Union an unexpected foothold in the game. The Canadian side showed their powers of recovery last time out at Stade Saputo, though. They were trailing Atlanta United 1-0, but came back to win it. Joaquin Torres won the crucial penalty in that match, but wasn't able to cause similar rippling effects here. Instead, the waves of change were created by those in light blue. Another free kick was whizzed through a crowded penalty area with great success, this time from Kai Wagner. But one of the traits of this Montreal team under Wilfried Nancy is the possession of self-belief. Substitute Ibrahim Sanusi powered in a 95th minute equaliser to mark the final moment in a proper ding-dong encounter in the East.
Atlanta United dropped out of the playoff places by losing to Montreal before the break and were quickly under attack from a Toronto team that have rallied recently. Jonathan Osorio so close to a 4th-minute opener for the side that sat just off the bottom in the East. But as the half went on, Atlanta began to get their act together. The movement fluid with half-time approaching, and Luis Araujo's unusual finish gave both teams something to ponder during the break. Toronto avoided any further damage before a big flashpoint in the final 10 minutes. Atlanta weren't happy about Arau Jr.'s challenge on Ezequiel Barco, even though the Argentinian appeared to have made the most of the contact. The row between the two escalated head-to-head at the bottom of the screen just before play was stopped for a separate melee. With tempers fraying, there was a lot for referee Timothy Ford to take into account. And the outbreak of hostilities between Arau Jr. and Barco eventually led to a red card apiece, a decision upheld by video review. A first for both players who'd never been sent off before in their careers, having made between them almost 300 professional appearances. Fair to say the verdict wasn't well received. Neither coach felt the clash merited more than a caution, and the bad feelings spilled over into some unseemly scenes. The delay meant there'd been 9 minutes added to the regulation 90, enough for the visitors to seal a success which officially finished any prospect of Toronto featuring beyond the end of the regular season, but put Atlanta right back in the mix.
Marcelino Moreno makes sure of the points, and a huge victory for Atlanta.
Orlando had begun the weekend 3 points ahead of Atlanta and crucially inside the top 4 in the East. Few would have expected them to slip up at bottom side FC Cincinnati, and their fast start suggested they weren't going to. Junior Urso squeezed in a 13th minute opener. Orlando's keeper Pedro Galese had insisted on being involved despite playing for Peru 48 hours prior. No problems with his mental sharpness, Jeff Cameron and the home crowd asking quite how he stops it. Galese wasn't the only one showing off his astonishing reflexes. Benji Michel was denied from point-blank range by Przemysław Titon as Orlando chased the safety net of a second goal. And they possibly should have had it late on when Tesho Akindele sent a crunching shot off the crossbar and possibly over the line. The replays weren't wholly definitive, but that's back-to-back wins for the first time since June for Orlando and 7 defeats on the bounce for Cincinnati.
DC United wanted to regain momentum after losing out to a 97th minute Orlando winner in their last game. That desire evident early on, leaving Nashville relieved that Ola Kamara narrowly missed out inside the first 3 minutes. An hour later, the home side was still seeking that breakthrough when Joseph Mora supplied an enticing cross. Russell Canals foiled twice by Joe Willis, who was on course for his 13th clean sheet of the year in the second tightest defence across the whole of MLS. No team's more stubborn than Nashville, that's for sure. Second in the East, they were heading for their 15th draw of the campaign, only 3 below the all-time record for a single season. Hani Mukhtar's determination to snatch victory came to nothing when Daniel Rios fired wide, forcing Gary Smith to settle for a share of the points yet again.
The significance of the Columbus Crew against Inter Miami was never going to be lost on those involved. Both teams knew a win was near on essential if they were to get above the line in the East. And big games need big players to deliver. Jazi Zardes, the crew's leading scorer, did just that with a delicate first-half header. And in the blink of an eye, the hungrier hosts had another. Darlington Nagby's tenacious and then unselfish endeavours ensured it was all rather straightforward for Pedro Santos. And this was all merely franking the form book. Columbus looked like an improving playoff-ready team, and Inter Miami just a shell of the side they were only a few weeks ago. Zardes scored again just after the hour to send Phil Neville's side spinning towards a 6th straight defeat. And this wasn't the first thrashing they'd been on the end of in that time either. Leandro Gonzalez Perez's own goal late on confirmed what we already knew. 3 points were heading the crew's way, while the sun had all but set on Miami's top 7 hopes.
With top seed in the East secured, the Revs hosted the Chicago Fire, who despite their lowly position proved problematic. Matt Turner had to be on his toes to prevent Alvaro Madran from making an impact on the field in the week when the Spaniards' comments off it made headlines, saying the Fire need changes from top to bottom. It was the second half before the Revs imposed themselves, thanks to Wilfried Kaptoum. A fine first goal for the club, worthy of his teammates' congratulations. But those celebrations lasted little more than a minute. With the home side perhaps not fully focused, John Espinosa's cross was steered in neatly by Madran, letting his feet do the talking. The Revs' response was inspired, as so often, by Carlos Gil. Out in front in MLS for assists, his 17th of the season helped them re-establish the lead.
It's 2-1. That's a worldie from Gustavo Bo. La Pantera back in goal-scoring form.
Less than 15 minutes to go, so coach Bruce Arena thought his team would close out the game from there. Instead, the Fire landed a late blow. By his high standards, Turner may have expected to do more to stop Ignacio Alaceda's effort, but it nestled in the corner, a point not enough to keep Chicago in playoff contention.
Goal! San Jose!
The Quakes have won 4 in a row against LAFC, who were under pressure.
LAFC pay a massive price for another mistake.
As 2 Cali sides began their push to break into the playoffs.
Chopin's moving in, pushing it through. He has another. Masovsky,
Watching this one, David Prutton and Dan Roebuck.
Here's an opportunity for LAFC. The back heel, is it good enough? It might be, and oh, it is! Inside the opening 2 and a bit minutes, Mazovsky takes full advantage of some slick build-up play and a clever back heel to put Danny Mazovsky in on goal. Close range, couldn't miss for his 4th of the campaign.
That's the back heel that completely unlocks the Quakes' defence.
Blessing to turn, movement. Flick forward by Cifuentes and taken down inside the box. What a stop by Marcinkowski to deny Arango, who can't believe that he hasn't scored.
Very neat touch and turn to get the ball down on the half volley.
Kekanovic, Chofis central. This is Shea Salinas. It'll come through towards Abobisi. Cleared off the line. Just Kim gets there somehow. Terrific defensive play.
Complete misunderstanding at the very heart of the LAFC defence, but Kim's the man that mopped it up.
Edwards. Anko will look to turn. Was he brought down? Referee gives a penalty. And here we go for 2-0. Can Arango keep his 100% record up from the spot in Major League Soccer? He can. Well, something of a P-roller into the corner, and LAFC lead by 2-0.
Really is a calmly taken penalty, isn't it?
That's a clever ball for Cifuentes once more. Right, one challenge. Oh, my word, how does he miss?
It's simply got to be the 3rd goal of the game for LAFC. Such a waste of a chance. You can see exactly what he wants to do.
on from this near side. And it's low, it has got in! Fierro, I think, got the final touch on that. He was closest to it.
It's a flat corner in, isn't it, that just isn't dealt with by LAFC. There's several black shirts there, all just looking at each other. It's a chest that finally sends it over and into the goal. Fierro, the man.
Quakes look all over the place at the back at the moment. This is Arango to come forward and tries to slip it through. This is Cifuentes! Oh my word, he's done it again!
Great footwork to get the ball out of his feet. And after that, complete lack of direction on the shot.
Jackskan, and he's got a free run here. Really good save. Wondolowski gets it taken off his head. Now it's with Abobisi. Fierro again. Rios with a low ball in. It hits Wondo and bounces away.
When Mateus Almeida knows that he's baying and knocking on the door, that knock's becoming increasingly louder.
Ball is there, but Rodriguez is there as well. Now he's got Judson to beat. Wants some help, and it's arriving in the shape of Arango, who buries it this time! LAFC lead by 3-1.
Really succinct breakaway from the home side. Rodriguez lays it on a plate. That man, though, Arango, 2 very well taken goals.
LAFC have beaten the San Jose Earthquakes by 3-1.
Important win. I thought a big effort from a lot of guys, and so as you head down this stretch, we talked about how important this home game was to get us going, get some momentum, and then now carry that into these next 2 away games.
After drawing against local rivals LAFC before the international break, the LA Galaxy were fast running short on time to salvage their season, and penetrating 4th place Portland Timbers backline, as Chicharito found out early on, is no easy conquest. The Galaxy hadn't won in 9 matches, and Steve Clark's double save from Kevin Cabral hinted at another frustrating night forthcoming for Greg Vanny's side. But the Timbers, who defended so diligently, then let the mask slip. Larisse Mabiala missed the ball, Chicharito didn't. This his 13th of the campaign. Portland, though, offered a quick response that will leave Sebastian Blanco's true intentions up for debate. Cross or shot? There was certainly no doubt about how the Argentinian wanted it to be viewed. And with the confidence that he was capable of producing anything, Blanco nearly served up an unquestionable moment of quality. The post saved the Galaxy, and then in stoppage time, a penalty decision which might well have saved their season. Jose Carlos Van Rankin's challenge on Efren Alvarez was untidy. And Sasha Kleshchin scored the spot kick. His first goal since converting another penalty against the Timbers back in July. This one, though, could keep the Galaxy's campaign running well into November.
Peter Vermees knew the Vancouver Whitecaps could be awkward opponents for his Sporting Kansas City side, and his worst fears were realised midway through the first half at BC Place. Jervain Brown's cross found Brian White, whose cushioned header was perfect for Ryan Gold. The Whitecaps began just a point below the Western Conference playoff positions, while SKC only needed a draw to guarantee their involvement. Even that was looking a long shot, with Vancouver in the mood to make the lead more comfortable. Tim Melia came to the rescue, denying Gold another goal. While Vanni Sartini appeared perplexed, it's worth remembering the Whitecaps' defeat to Western leaders Seattle last time out was just their second in 16 league matches, and the home side continued to threaten. SKC were paying close attention to White, but couldn't keep everything covered.
Tybert has some room now. Tybert will give it a ride. Off the post and in. Russell Tybert and the Caps are up a pair.
Very rare for Sporting to fall 2 goals adrift, and there was still plenty of time to save themselves. Their hopes were raised when Johnny Russell found the net for the 6th game running. The Scotsman's 11th of the season meant his team was still in contention with the match deep into stoppage time at the end of the second half, when Russell's cross winged its way towards Luis Martins. but the opportunity came and went. SKC are close, but still not sure of that playoff spot.
RSL welcomed the Colorado Rapids to Rio Tinto Stadium for the third and final instalment of the 2021 Rocky Mountain Cup. But the unmissable event was Damir Kreilach scoring in a 5th consecutive match and setting a new club record. The Real Salt Lake feel-good factor was maintained after the break too. Rubio Rubin continued his impressive first season in MLS, sliding in his 8th of the campaign and 2nd this year against the Rapids. Colorado knew that a win would secure their spot in the playoffs, and even a draw might have been enough. But when Michael Barrios struck the post to commence several seconds of penalty area scrambling, they sensed they might have to wait for a few more days to wrap up their slot. That feeling would have been heightened when Jonathan Lewis scampered away from the RSL defence, only to see the ball bounce off the woodwork again. The lack of fortune didn't last long, though. From the resulting corner, Younis Namli's shot took a big deflection off Kreilach. Perhaps no surprise to see the ball come off him and go straight in. But late RSL nerves were finally eradicated deep into stoppage time.
Anderson Julio! Dagger! 3-1!
And a Rocky Mountain Cup to boot.
Minnesota United hope to continue a remarkable record against Texan clubs this season. 17 points from just 8 games, compared to the 21 they collected from 20 matches against everyone else. Austin's Moussa Djite drew an agile stop from Tyler Miller to signal the Loons might not have it all their own way this time in the Lone Star State. Adrian Heath's team arrived in possession of the final playoff place in the West, but winless in their last 3 outings. After Brad Stuver beat away Emmanuel Reynoso's shot, Franco Fragapane couldn't be thwarted, putting Minnesota on track for another Texas triumph. Austin bottom of the standings are the lowest scorers in the West, so a comeback seemed unlikely. Cecilio Dominguez had the chance to salvage a point, but his effort wide of the mark confirmed the club's inaugural season in MLS will not extend into the playoffs.
To our final game between the Houston Dynamo and the Seattle Sounders, and what was essentially a first-half goal-of-the-month competition. Maxi Urruti started the contest with a piece of technical genius to fire the hosts in front. But in terms of individual quality, that goal quickly had a rival.
Quintero. Wow, in the crowd, it's Darwin! It's Darwin! Darwin Quintero! It's a dribbling exhibition!
Not to be outshone, the Western Conference leaders responded before the break in the only way the game would allow, sensationally, via Jimmy Medranda. The Sounders had already secured an MLS record 13th consecutive playoff spot, but in Houston they had a problem. Quintero was agonisingly close to another high-class moment, and there was more frustration for the hosts soon after. Griffin Dorsey hit defender and then post in swift succession. Everything Houston touched turned to gold in the first half, but suddenly the treasure trove wasn't quite as accessible. Urruti was the latest to be denied by the frame. And when the Sounders got a free kick 3 minutes into stoppage time, most inside PNC Stadium sat in fear. But of course there was nothing to worry about. Joao Paulo was unable to break the magnetic attraction between ball and post, and the Dynamo are still clinging on to their playoff plans.
Defeat for Seattle meant that the top 4 in the Western Conference all lost in week 30. While everyone from 5th down to 9th won, leaving the top 10 positions unchanged. Austin FC were the first club in the West to be eliminated from playoff contention.
In the East, Atlanta moved up into the playoff positions at the expense of NYCFC. Only 2 points now separate the Five Stripes in 5th and the Red Bulls in 9th. Chicago and Toronto can no longer make the playoffs.
We leave you this week with some standout goals in the East.
He's in, he floats it. That's a worldie from Gustavo Bo.
And the best of the West, all courtesy of a dynamite evening in Houston.
Little chip over the top. Urruti off the draw. Oh, what a goal! Wow, in the crowd, it's Darwin. It's Darwin. This is 5-star.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.